The first question, what does the term the arts mean to you?
Well, thanks y'all for coming. Ooh, that was loud, sorry. Thanks y'all for coming this evening. You know, arts is a really broad term. I think Brad kind of summed it up. It's the visual arts, so all of the painting, sculpture, jewelry, anything like that, and then performing arts, theater, symphony, drama, all of those things make up the arts to me.
When I think of the arts, I think of theater, music, painting, sculpture, photography. Of course, that leaves out a whole lot of things like the visual arts when you get into TV and movie and all sorts of other media. But from my exposure over the years, it's primarily been the performing arts.
I would say that art is a creative expression of any type. And it would come in visual, musical, dance, painting, photography. But anytime anybody expresses themselves with creativity, I consider that an art.
Thank you. What is your vision for the arts in Frisco? If elected, what 3 things will you do actively to improve fine arts options for Frisco's residents and tourists?
I think what Frisco has currently is just the beginnings of what we're ultimately going to have. I was online today looking at the map of Frisco and some of the art that we have. Sorry about the feedback. Some of the art that we have all around town. So I think we've got a long way to go. For me, because I've had my focus in other areas over my life, the 3 things that I focus on most importantly is, one, I've had an opportunity to meet with several small business owners throughout town recently that are in the arts, be they dance schools or other types of schools. And I've learned a lot more from those folks. So I'm going to continue to reach out to those folks and learn more about the actual needs, because I haven't seen quite so much of that previously, and I think it's good that we all reach out and learn something new. I'm going to continue to meet with the Arts Board members. I've met with several of them already, and I've learned a lot from them as well. Lastly, I'm going to continue to meet with all the existing board members that we have, CVB, CDC, our EDC board members, our Parks and Rec board members, those boards that have the most direct impact from the city side when it comes to our art projects. Those 3 things are absolutely critical, because we've got to bring all those people together to make sure that the city actually understands what we really need for a center when the time comes.
So my vision is for Frisco. Frisco has to be an amazing and great place to live for the very long term. And that is only going to happen if we do some amazing things now and make sure that Frisco is a very well-rounded city. And so in saying that, then part of that being well-rounded is supporting the arts. So my vision for the arts is that we have to be a world-class city with world-class arts facilities. And I think we also have to make sure that we support all the different types of art that the demand is there for in the city. So as I've been talking to people in the community, and even today, there's definitely a need for different size centers. There's a different types of performances. So my vision for the arts in Frisco is that we try and accommodate all of that. And we do it with the partnerships, and we do it fiscally responsibly, but we get it done so that everybody has a place for the performances that they need, and all of those are available to our people and our children. I would love even a partnership with the school where our children could also use the facilities.
What is your vision for the arts in Frisco? If elected, what 3 things would you do actively?
Okay, sorry, I thought I was missing something before vision. So, the vision for Frisco is, I talked with a city council member one time, and he, you know what he told me? He said, this is a sports town, okay? So if you drive into Frisco, there's no doubt that we have a lot going on with sports, right? And as you've seen, some of the great businesses that we wanted to bring to Frisco have gone just across in 121, okay? I truly believe that one of the reasons that that's happened is because when cities try to sell themselves to new companies, they want to say, look, we have sports, we have business, we have restaurants, we have this, and we have arts. And I think Plano has done a great job of that. So I would like, my vision for Frisco is that we are able to be competitive and that we're able to put something on the map here in Frisco that is equally as stunning as any of the sports venues that we have. What 3 things do we need to do that? Well, somebody gave me a great idea for tonight just with one thing. One thing is, let's do something so that people here in town know what kind of art venues we have already, where the sculptures are, where the paintings are, where the museums are. What do we have already? So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to build partnerships with these great companies that are coming to town, okay? We do have somebody that's very interested in donating land. Let's capitalize on that. Then we need to build other partnerships. We have somebody that is a very large landowner here in Frisco who also happens to be a great patron of the arts. Let's capitalize on that. Let's build partnerships, because that's really what this is about. I don't think we can do this just alone as a city. We need the artists' help. We need artists to tell us, what kind of venue do you need? What's your vision? What do you see? Obviously, when you heard what I thought of arts, there's so much more to that, to encompass that. So we need to bring together all the parties to get that done.
Very good responses. Thank you very much. If elected, what will you do to make the construction of a performing arts center one of the City Council's top 10 priorities for the next year?
Well, that's one of the things that I think I've kind of already mentioned as part of a strategic plan, is to begin meeting with the arts community and see exactly what your needs are. And then secondly, to meet with patrons of the arts who are also going to be donors and want to see that built in Frisco just as badly as the artists do, I think. I really believe they do. To begin meeting with those people and to, a lot of times if you meet with people and they feel like they are able to give and contribute something that makes a difference in the lives of people and in the lives of a city, and that creates a legacy, that's something that becomes very appealing. We have some great corporate folks here in Frisco, and I really think that what we need to do is develop a good business plan. So we get the land developed, we get the needs decided, scoped out. That was one of the things that was talked about at the winter workshop that the City Council did. And I believe that, Tammy, in your presentation, I believe you had up to 5 different options, if I remember correctly, ranging in price from, Mini Cooper to Maserati, okay? And I think that if we start to do that, if we start to develop a business plan, we develop a strategic plan to figure out what the needs are, who the stakeholders are, who the benefactors are that really want to leave this legacy for not only for the city but for their children and for the future, then we can start to develop that. And I make that an absolute priority. And you know what? I've already told several people, politics aside, I will do that anyway, because that's important to our city. And that's one of the things that we want to see get done as a family. It's important to my family, and I think it's going to be important to the families of Frisco.
I think it's important to keep in mind that those top 10 priorities are very large goals for the city, and they come about by the consensus of all the council persons, not just a single individual. So I think it's important that if elected, I'll continue to work with the other councilmen to understand this issue better. probably one of the plans that we need to work on the most is what the arts in Frisco looks like. We do have some things online and we do have some programs, but it's not very comprehensive. So that more comprehensive plan surrounding the arts does need to be worked on a little bit more. I'll continue to meet with the residents and the partners that I've been meeting with in the community as well. Again, it's an education process to understand more about what we need. I don't think we're quite there yet with knowing what that item is, be it a performing arts center of the let's say Mini Cooper or the Maserati. It'll be somewhere in between that, I'm sure. I've already worked with some of those partners. Being on P&Z, I've met with some of the developers of the $5 billion mile. I know that there's a place for a center of some sort in Frisco Station. They kind of pointed that out when they brought that before planning and zoning. So there are some of the puzzle pieces there. We just need to keep working to put them together.
And can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. If elected, what will you do to make the construction of a performing arts center one of the City Council's top 10 priorities for the next year?
So every year, and in January of every year, the City Council has a work session where they come up with their top 10 priorities for that year. And I think that this has to be one of those priorities. And the reason I say that is because the people of Frisco have spoken, if you will, 3 times by giving money to the arts. 4 million, 10 million, and before that. So, and I was in a couple of meetings this week. In fact, we were at coffee with the mayor on Monday morning, and somebody who was there attending, her question to the mayor is, what's going on with the arts? When are we going to get it? When is it coming? The people want it. And so now it's time as elected leaders, and if that's what happens, to make sure that we are expressing your voice when we're at those work sessions and saying that we need to make this happen, and we need to make it happen quickly. It does take partnerships, but we have a lot of great companies and a lot of great businesses moving here and thinking about moving here. And I feel like those partnerships are right there. We just need to be talking to them about it very seriously, to seeing how we can work together to make it happen. But as far as making it a priority, I think at this point it just has to be. It has to be something that we think is top priority, that we discuss with every developer that's coming here. And it's a great advertising opportunity. I mean, these are businesses, and if you tell a business that they can put their name on this building, for example, that's huge. I also met somebody the other day who used to be the controller for the Jack's Theater, and he said that they used to get offers all the time. If you'll let us put our logo here, we'll give you money. How much do you want to be able to do that? So I think the businesses are ready. We just need to be approaching them, and we need to make this a priority and make it happen.
Do you feel that Frisco is imbalanced in regard to its commitment to the arts? And I guess why or why not?
How long?
Oh, let's have 60 seconds.
I think we've said that, so I'll defer the time. I think it is imbalanced. I think we need more focus on the arts.
I think there's been a little bit of imbalance over the years, but we're a young and growing city, and I think we're going to get there.
There has been an imbalance. I think we all agree on that, but the time has come. It really has come, and it's time to move forward and make it much more evenly balanced, and I look forward to being able to help with that.
All right, so now we would like for each of the candidates to make their 2-minute closing statement. We want to thank all of you. At the end of the closing statements, we'll have a few comments, and then we'll be taking a break. Okay, so whoever would like to go first.
Thanks all of you for coming and braving the weather and being, especially those of you that are not undercover during the showers. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and ask questions of us and get our viewpoint. I think one of the most important things that you can get is from a candidate is a straight answer. And that's what I hope that you feel like you have gotten from me. I have a background in professional leadership, managing very large urban trauma centers and emergency departments. That doesn't seem like it goes with the arts very well. But what it does do is it gives me a professional background of strategic planning, of developing community groups, of knowing how to find people to solve problems and solve issues. And I think that translates well to anything in city government, especially the arts. Especially areas where people feel like they have been left out and underserved. I think it's important that people in Frisco feel like they're being heard, and so that they feel like there's somebody that they can go to that will listen to them and represent their viewpoint. Clearly, a lot of folks in the arts community feel like that we haven't done enough and they haven't been heard. And so that's one of the things that I think I bring to the table is I have a 30-year record of professional community service, and my whole job is listening to people and communicating and planning and bringing about resolutions. It would be my honor to serve you as one of your city council people. And I will work regardless of the election. I look forward to working with the members of the arts community to bring more art to Frisco.
Yeah, thank you all for coming and braving the weather. It's a little chilly up here too. You know, admittedly, art's not been my focus throughout my life. I'm not a creative person. I've got a background in finance and a master's in accounting, and I work with numbers every day. But I do appreciate art, and especially, like I said, through my kids and the talent that they have. What I bring to the table is I've been involved with the city for 8 years now. I've been on a variety of different boards and commissions. I've participated in our comprehensive planning process and our Parks and Rec Master Plan. So I've got these partnerships with these local leaders. I've met with those developers before. I've seen their projects. I know what they're capable of. So if I'm elected, I'll be able to work with all those existing partners that we've already talked about to identify when something comes available that we're ready to act on. So again, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for coming today. I know the weather has not been good, and I appreciate your being here. I'd like to state a quote by Fred Rogers. How many of you know Mr. Rogers from PBS? Yeah, remember him? All right, he says, "We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, and not my problem. And then there are those who see the need and respond, and those are my heroes." I am running for Frisco City Council because it's time for me to give back to the city of Frisco. I have been working in the community for many years, but as a CPA, as a real estate expert, as a community servant, as a mother, and as somebody who really cares about this city, I feel that I have the background to make a difference and be able to help, and I would love the opportunity to do that. And I will say that I am a huge supporter of the arts, and like Cindy said, regardless of the outcome of the election, I will be here and be involved to help us get to the next steps on this. Thank you so much for coming today.